Hello. All right. So this is the part 4. The funny thing is that I thought that I was recording, and I usually record it like with one go. And it seems like I didn't turn on the recording. So yeah, here we go. Once more. Let's go. All right. So what did I do? Let me clear this up because I was kind of trying to explain to myself, as it seems. I removed all the things that we did before, and now we are gonna dive deep into the functions. So function add AB, return AB, and also let's do function subtract, multiply, divide. Okay, I don't need those two actually. Now, if we run the script, this script, if it runs, nothing happens. And you know why? Maybe we don't see it here because we don't have the console log. Let's put down the console log. So will we see it or we won't? What do you think? So let's go here, and you see nothing happens. You probably know why it doesn't happen anything. And yeah, you guessed it correctly if you thought this was the reason. Because we need to call the functions, and without calling the function, there will be nothing else. Okay, 25 and 26. This is how it works. In function, you can call another function. That's also a case. Like we could even like, let's keep it here. We could do such a thing like in with this console, and we could also add AB. So now adding AB would mean we would add 50 and 25. And this is for subtracting. So let's do this. And you see 26 and 75. The two numbers that we have here. That's how it is. All right, so what else can we do? We can assign a function to the, no, first of all, like, let's remove the console log. Let's remove this. Let's remove also this part. And let's console log the function subtract. What it would do. What it does is -10. And how do we get this? Because the function returns the value that is calculated. So it returns this part. If we remove this here and we would just return 50, like let's do a minus b and then return 50. It returns 50. It does something here, but this one does not care about what is done here in this case because we just return the value. So the thing is, the functions return values. Like you can do some kind of operations without returning a value, changing, for example, if we had, let's say, let cost equals to 100, we could do such a thing that cost equals to a minus b, such a thing. I don't know why, but let's do this. And if we console logged the cost right now, it would still be 100. But if first we would call the function, not like this, but subtract like this, and would send let's say 80 and 20, the cost would be 60 because this one changed the cost, this value, it changed it. and we can remove the return. We don't need it. It would still work. So we don't return anything, but the cost was changed. That's how functions can work. What else functions could do? Let's imagine we have an object. Let's remove this and let's create an object. Let's go back to the cars, or maybe this time let's create a building, or let's bank, let's say bank, and this would be bank equals to no, not John, like this. Balance is 100, deposit function, withdraw function, let's say get balance, return this balance, and so on. So you see, the object itself has some functions inside which we could call. I think we discussed it a little bit in the previous lesson, but still, let's console log bank dot to get inside the object. First, let's say the balance, and if we do this, it's 100. So we can now call the deposit function bank.deposit, but deposit needs an argument, and we would add 110 for 150. So what that would be, that would make it okay. This is undefined. Now we gotta find out why it is undefined. So do you know why this is undefined? Any idea? All right, so we have not used AI this time, so let's ask AI. Can you check why my console log is undefined? And let's see what the AI would answer for this. It analyzes code. And let's see. Okay, so what did it give us? Here is the prompt answer. Like we enter in the prompt what the question is, and then it answers. And seeing here, the idea why it is like broken, why it is undefined, it's not broken. Function does not return anything. We return, if you remember, we were doing such a thing like function add return AB. So it was returning the value, and when we were consoling the add function, it was like consoling the value the function returned. But in this case, it just deposits. It does not return any value. So what we have to do is that we need to call the deposit function like this, and then we can console log the bank balance. And let's see. Get balance just returns this, but first I want to get like console log balance, just the balance, and it 250. You see? What else can we do? Like we can also call this function get the balance, which returns the balance from the bank account. But this returns, like this function is called before this one. So first we fire the deposit function, and then we do the get balance. So yeah, you see? So this matters, like when we will call the function. If we would move this here, first call the console and then call this function, it would not work anymore. like this, and the balance would be 100. You see, it is 100 because first we console log something, and then we call the deposit function. And now if we would call the console log again, it's 250. You know why? Because this is read from top to bottom, and this code is not asynchronous. We will get into it too, and because of that, first the console is displayed, then is the function called the deposit function, and then there's another console which already returns the amount after this function was called. So how the asynchronous code work? Like there is right now it will be a little bit harder to understand, but to give you some kind of understanding, the basic understanding how it works, it's something like this. Let's say we can set the timeout. No, not the interval. Set timeout, and it gets an argument in milliseconds. So this is 5 seconds, and here we can do such a thing. All right. So now if we would do node script, it's 100 and 100 because this function actually, and you see it jumped to this a little bit later. You see it is still executing the code because there's a 5-second delay, and then we are here. So the thing is, as you see, this function was called a bit later. So if we added another set timeout, but this time let's do it 7 seconds, and console log bank get balance. All right, now let's see what happens. It fired 100 and 100 because consoles ran, and then we have 250. So you see, this is on top, then comes this console, then this one, then this one. So this is the asynchronous. It doesn't like fire one after another in this case, but actually the function is called like this is read before this one, but as there is a timeout, this function would fire later than this. That's why we have such a result. So later on, when we get to calls for the endpoints, how we get the data, and how we deal with this data taken from the backend and the databases, we will get more into it. But for now, you need to understand that the functions, they sometimes like they are asynchronous. Sometimes they don't work just like this one. Yep. So in this case, this would fire first, this would fire second, and this would fire third. And yeah. But if we have such a thing as timeouts, async await promises, then it's a bit different. But yeah, it's a more bit kind of complex thing. But the thing is, it's not hard. The idea, the main thing is to understand the idea, how or why it is done. So imagine you are calling, let's say, some kind of endpoint where you need to get lots of users. Let's say function get users. Okay, so it returns promise and so on. We don't need this for now, but this function returns like some data from the server. This is a string, I know, but the thing is, if we made a call from here, the server needs some time, like let's say a couple of seconds before it returns the answer to us. So what would happen is that if we had like let's say another function depending from this get users function, what would happen is that we would this would not wait like the another function like function console users console log get you not yeah get users. Right now it would fire and it would let me just comment this all out. Console log get users. Okay, nothing happens, right? As you see. And you know why? Because I don't call the function itself. So console users like this. And if we do it like this one, some data from the server. But imagine like if we had a set timeout here for 200 milliseconds, which is not 200, 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds in fact. So what would happen here? You see, it's undefined. And imagine when you are depending on this data from the server, and most web applications work like that because like the web page doesn't know how many books are in the store, what are the prices, and so on. It's just written to get the data and display it as it is. There's a design, there are functions like buy, sell, or whatever, but the thing is the data is in the database. And if we did not have the asynchronous code where we need to await for something, then this would not work at all. As you see, it's undefined here. So that's why we need this asynchronous code. So yeah, that's how it is. But let's in this case return, let's say like this one. Now let's see, we faked the, let's say the call for the backend, and now let's see what happens. It's pending. Okay, and it finished, but it did not get anything because it was pending. Yeah, so usually that's how it is. Like when it is resolved, then it fires. But this is like yeah, it returns the promise, but we don't wait for it. That's the problem that we have here. So what we have here, like uh, sorry, why did I close? Oh, all right. So as you see, we can't get anything, and if we just sorry, it's pending, and it finishes without consoling this. Do you know why this happens? Because this function is not async. So if we do such a thing, now the function is async, and okay, we just it complicates things. We don't need this complicated. We will just do such a thing. And okay, now we try. Yeah, you see, there's some data from the server, not from actual server, but from here. So what happens here? This function, we made it async. This function knows here to like with this await word, we tell this function, the console user, to wait for the result, for the resolve of this function. So until this function is pending, as we were having it here, this one does not execute anything. So this console log awaits for this function to finish and then console logs. We can now like modify this for 5 seconds and you will see that it will fire in 5 seconds right now. Let's see. Yeah, you see, that's the idea of a async await and the promises that we have in the functions. You can try some more on your own. You can use this prompt. This prompt is really helpful, to be honest. And we will continue on with the arrays in the next one, let's say. For now, I think it's enough. See you and bye.